Okay, guys. So, in an attempt to not lose any more lecture time in conjunction with all of these snow days, I'm going to just do a brief lecture introducing the second half of the chapter in chapter 9. And this is dealing with the idea of meiosis, which is not mitosis, this is meiosis. And we only see meiosis when we're dealing with the idea of sexual reproduction. Okay? Things to understand within the last half of this chapter is that everything is about being unique. Okay? We see this idea of sexually shuffling. Okay? Which means to shuffle. And our whole goal here is to not become genetically identical, but we want to produce cells that are genetically unique. Okay, so that's the goal of meiosis, to produce genetically unique cells. Now, when we talk about the actual term sexual reproduction refers to three processes that have to occur in order for this for sexual reproduction to take place. So, sexual reproduction involves the three processes of meiosis, which is sexual cell division. Okay, so meiosis, sexual cell division. Okay? Sexual reproduction involves meiosis, which is sexual cell division. And then those cells that are formed from meiosis undergo gamete formation. In other words, they'll become sperm or eggs, depending on if it's in a male or a female. And then, of course, fertilization is when a sperm fertilizes an egg. So, meiosis, sexual cell division, gamete formation, cells become egg or sperm, depending on if it's a male or a female doing meiosis. And then fertilization is sperm unites with egg. So when those three processes occur, that's what is needed to occur in order for there to be sexual reproduction. In other words, cells have to undergo sexual cell division, or meiosis, and those are only going to be the cells that are in the testes of males and in the ovaries of females. Okay? So meiosis, or sexual cell division of those cells, has to occur. Those resulting cells, those resulting sex cells, then need to become the different gamete they are going to be, whether it becomes a sperm or an egg. And then the process of fertilization is where a male, one parent, and a female, the second parent, contribute one sperm and one egg, thereby fertilizing the egg. All three of these processes together is known as sexual reproduction. Okay? We want to focus our attention, though, on this first component of sexual reproduction, and that being meiosis. Because in meiosis, we do something really interesting. In meiosis, we are going to take the total number of chromosomes that we have in a cell, and we're going to divide it in half. Okay? And this gives us these unique ideas, the concept of 2n and n. Okay? N is equal to the number of different types of chromosomes. So n is in reference to the number of different types of chromosomes. In other words, do we have 5 different types of chromosomes? Do we have 10 different types of chromosomes? In other words, we have chromosome number 1, chromosome number 2, chromosome number 3, and so on. 2n refers to, in other words, not the n, but the 2 of the 2n is in reference to the number of sets of chromosomes. In other words, is there one set of chromosomes or are there two sets of chromosomes? Okay, so when we use the terms 2n, that means that the cells have two full sets of chromosomes. N could mean anything. N could be 4, N could be 5. N refers to the number of different types of chromosomes. So for example, in humans, we have 23 different types of chromosomes, right? So our N equals 23. But we have two sets of chromosomes. We get one set from mom in the egg and one set from dad in the sperm. So that all of our cells have two complete sets of 23 chromosomes. And so 2 times 23 means that we have a total number of 46 chromosomes. We have 23 chromosomes from mom, because we have 23 different types in humans, and we have 23 chromosomes from dad. Okay? So when we're talking about in reference to N and 2N, 2N means we are carrying two complete sets of chromosomes. And that's pretty much how all of our cells are. All of our cells contain two sets of chromosomes because we were formed by one sperm cell fertilizing one egg cell. So the sperm contains one set of chromosomes, contains N number of chromosomes, and for us that means 23. So a sperm contains 23 chromosomes. The egg contains 23 chromosomes, or the other N. And upon fertilization, we end up with a 2N cell. So here's the egg cell that has N. Here's the sperm cell that has N. And when the sperm fertilizes the egg, a fertilized egg cell has 2N chromosomes. We know that because there's one, sorry guys. Because there's one N from the sperm, one N from the egg. And when they come together at fertilization, we get 2N. So all of our cells are 2N. But our gametes, our sex cells, are N. So what this means is that during meiosis, we have to take the 2N number of chromosomes. In other words, we have to take our two sets of chromosomes, okay? And we have to cut it in half. So in other words, during meiosis, we have to go from a 2N cell to an N cell. In other words, we have to separate. Meiosis is to separate the two sets of chromosomes. That's our goal. That's what we call it, dividing it in half. Okay, and so we introduced the idea of two sets of chromosomes. So this should carry through. That means that during meiosis, we're going to have to divide 2 times instead of just once. And we're going to talk about that as we move forward. If we divide once, like in mitosis, we end up with 2 cells. But if we divide twice in meiosis, that means we should end up with 4 cells. Okay? This term, haploid, I'm going to talk to you about in the upcoming slides. But haploid refers to N. And diploid refers to 2N. So a haploid cell has just one set of chromosomes. A diploid cell has two sets of chromosomes. So in meiosis, we're going to divide twice to produce 4 genetically unique haploid cells. Now, while this is happening inside of our bodies, inside of our cells, our set of 23 chromosomes from mom, our set of 23 chromosomes from mom and our set of 23 chromosomes from dad are going to shuffle and get mixed up so that when the cell divides, they are not going to be genetically identical. Okay? So maternal from a mom, those chromosomes, and the chromosomes from dad, paternal, those chromosomes are going to shuffle and mix. Okay? And we know that the different types of information on these chromosomes are called genes. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. So pretty much we're shuffling the instructions and we're taking what our mother put in our cells and what our father put in our cells, and we're going to shuffle them together before we undergo meiosis. And this, of course, leads to the keyword variation, and that's the goal of meiosis. And of course, down here, following by giving information, we're going to focus on how do we divide these cells. I know there's always a lot of information to start off with. So let's really wrap our heads around the ideas of what are the chromosomes in humans that we're dealing with. A karyotype is simply a picture or a diagram of all of the chromosomes inside of a cell. Okay, so this is in section 9.5, okay? A karyotype, a display of all of the chromosomes inside of our cells, is known as a karyotype. Karyotype, okay? This is a human karyotype. This is also a human karyotype. And I'm hoping that you guys can start to see that this is put up here in a specific manner. How many different types of chromosomes do you see? How many different types? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way up to 23 different types of chromosomes. So n equals 23. This is our haploid number. But then when you look at this karyotype, you'll notice that we don't have just one chromosome number 1. We have 2. Here's chromosome number 1. That's from dad. But we also have chromosome number 1. That's from mom. The same thing is true across the board. All of our chromosomes in our karyotype, we have 23 different types of chromosomes, but one set of those 23 chromosomes we got from the egg, or we got from mom. Those are the ones I'm indicating in red. And then the other set that we have are from dad. So I think that when you look at a karyotype, these ideas of chromosome number start to become a little bit clearer. Because if we have n 23 chromosomes from mom and n 23 chromosomes from dad, remember, this n was from the sperm, this n is from the egg. When they fuse together, we end up with 2 sets of 23 chromosomes. So that we end up with 2n, which is our diploid number. These karyotypes pretty much just show that for every type of chromosome that we have not one complete set of them, but two. Because we get one complete set of 23 from Dad, and we get the other complete set of 23 from Mom. So, essentially, we can say that the gametes are haploid, and upon fertilization, that fertilized egg cell becomes diploid. Okay? Two sets of chromosomes come together so that all of our cells have 2n chromosomes. We have two sets, the two, of n equaling 23 chromosomes, so that our grand total of chromosomes inside of all of our cells is 46. Okay? I think you'll notice that we number them all the way up to 22, but then there's that set number, or that number 23, is really referring to the set of sex chromosomes, and that determines whether we are males or females. Females have two X's. That equals a female. That's the female symbol. An X and a Y equals male. This is the male symbol. Okay? So we have 23 different types of chromosomes. Chromosome 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 21, 22, and a set of sex chromosomes. So the karyotype is just a picture of all the chromosomes inside of our cells at any given time. I'm going to stop here because I need to see you guys and be in class with you when I start talking to you about these different terms. Okay? So review this a couple times until you're clear, and then we will pick up from here in class when we meet after our quiz.